Morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 37 in the book of John. But today we're going to go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. And the question today is, let's take this as a little quiz, is how many days of the week is Jesus Lord over? Here's your choices. A, 0. B, a couple of them. C is 6. And the D is 7. He's Lord over the seventh day as well. So we're going to ask the question today, who gets to decide what the Sabbath means and who is Lord of the Sabbath? So who am I in relationship to the Lord of the Sabbath? Or have I just made myself king of the weekend and doing what I think is best? So in the story in John chapter 5, which is our official passage for today, the Jews were right. The Sabbath is a special day. And here's a big point for today, write this down, is I have a duty to the day. I have a duty to the day of the Sabbath. Now, they were wrong in this. They were wrong in what it means. They were wrong when the Lord comes to tell them what it means. They don't listen well, and they fight, and they make a big argument, and they misinterpret some of the little stuff, which was picking up a mat. And they missed the Lord himself. It's a big tragedy. They missed their duty, and we can do it too. We can make the wrong call. So part of this is a sobering thing. It's, golly, we better consider what the Sabbath is. So wait, you mean you drilled down, the Jews here, you drilled down on picking up a bedroll and you missed Jesus himself? It's like, All right, so here's the passage from today. It's from Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. You may be familiar with it. It's the Ten Commandments. And one of them is, verse 8, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. And on it you shall not do any work, or your son, or your daughter, or your male servant, or your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. So anybody within your household and your roof shouldn't be working. For in the 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So for sure, this is a day to be remembered, and yet this is something that we frequently forget. It's in the Ten Commandments, and he's saying, don't forget it. Remember this. It's like Christianity and Jewishness 101. Work for 6 days, work hard. There's nothing wrong with hard work. It's honorable, it's commanded. It's originally a very blessed part of the world. Work was given before the fall. It's a wonderful part of human experience. And, just a foundational question is, what are you working hard at right now? So it probably would behoove you to have something from which you'd best be resting one day a week. That's the problem with retirement, in this purposelessness that many people feel. For many, it's the hardest thing they ever do because it's moving from this transition of paid work to other purposeful work. What are you working hard at now? Then he says, I want you to be an influence. I want you to give a Sabbath, make a Sabbath, set the Sabbath for those within your gates. Make it a special day. As far as it depends on you, make the Sabbath holy for you, but also for anyone that God's put you over, including animals and even guests. So God gave a Sabbath to himself. He says, God did this first. Now why? Did God really need a rest? I don't think so. I think he did it for you. I think he did it as an example to help us get this right. So I'm not sure he required it, but he does require it of those that follow him. And I think that's why he uses it as an example. So point number one is we have a duty to the day. Point number two is have something to Sabbath from. Now, perhaps your duty to the day of the Sabbath starts on Monday morning like we're talking about. And lordship, perhaps the duty of the Sabbath is in recognizing him, honoring him without being ridiculous like the people in our story were. Don't make up your own rules. Don't misinterpret his rules and miss the forest for the trees. Now, there's a blessing here. He blesses the Sabbath. He makes it holy. He makes it special. He sets it apart. Set apart for what? For rules? No, I don't think so. For being ruled for the ruler. And remember, only people can praise the Lord, not trees or rocks or dogs. And the Lord makes this space, this Sabbath, to facilitate praise, or like it says, we forget. So likely the Sabbath is going to involve the people of God. So is the Sabbath for rules, or is the Sabbath for being ruled by the ruler with the people of his rule? So let's be humble before him. Let's make time and space for him, and time and space for people in our household, as well as time and space for the people of God. Now, for some people, the Sabbath may need more rules. So, does your Sabbath look exactly like days 1 through 6? So, it surprised me to think about in a story that some people have missed the Sabbath because of too many rules. That's what the story says. But I think you can also miss because of too few rules. And I realized that John and from Genesis points to be careful about having too many rules. So you may be missing the Sabbath, the rest, the set apartness, the worship, the people of God by not having enough. And I got to say, this was a surprise to me as I thought about this topic. You know, in our culture of less work, less distinction, let's do Sunday right. Let's maybe get more rules, more consideration, at least. So less Sabbath equals less Lord. So he's designed this day so that we would designate his day with a purpose. So let's make some conclusion here. The Sabbath is something we desperately need. We have a duty to the day. We must consider the rules and the structure of a day. Now they pointed to all of this points to the Lord of that day. It's whom do we owe the Sabbath? Lord, I want to get this right. For some, that might be dialing up the work part of our life and have something to Sabbath from. Or others, it may be making it more of a distinctive day. Do you need more rules on the Sabbath? So what's my duty to this day and the Lord that has made the day? Let's make the day right. Let's consider every activity I do and every activity that I refrain from doing. So I want to see you. Let's make it a day for worship for sure, and let's design our days, design our weeks to point to you and to do our duties to you. So let's dial up our duty to the day of the Sabbath. Thanks for listening.